Hello, world. Welcome back. We're doing part 2 now of Ruins of Bazagon. Though, really for us, it's like part 3, but you all didn't see session 0. So I am Esper, your dungeon master. I have these fine 4 brave souls with us again today. Why don't we go around and introduce everybody real quick? Just say your name, your character, whatever you want to tell everyone, and then we'll get into the adventure.
All right, I will jump in then. I am Nerdarchy Ted from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds. I will be playing Veraxion. He is a tabaxi swashbuckler.
No, it's tiefling.
Yeah, you're not tabaxi.
Wrong game.
That's right, tiefling. Tiefling, not tabaxi. Wrong team. Wrong team. Sorry, it's been a long week for me. Tiefling swashbuckler.
Well, tonight I'll be playing Gungle Firebeard. I am also from Nerdarchy, for Nerds by Nerds still. And I'm a mountain dwarf, Oath of the Crown paladin.
I'm Nerder Doug, also with Nerdarchy, and I am playing Jovan the Musky, a Goliath extreme adventurer, which is a build that we made on the channel. It's a ranger monk rogue.
I am Megan. I am associated with Nerdarchy. And I am playing Ren, a changeling druid. Just kind of a peace and love type.
So last session, we did the second half, you could say, of Kilowak's Arcane Sanctum. Kilowick, I guess. It was a place seething with arcane radiation. There had been some disaster that had happened there and collapsed sections of it. You did not find the object you had been pursuing. It had been a weak lead, a hunch, really, anyways. And when one character met his tragic end, another character arrived, Jovan. A couple days after that, you all heeded the summons of a certain Master Cicero Padatiri. And this time I do actually have a Bazagon city map available, so we can get a quick look, at least a rough idea of where everything is. So let's see, where should I be zooming in? Yes, you heeded the summons here in New Starbreeze. This is a neighborhood that is under construction. It is mainly refugees from a different realm, a whole different continent known as Magnaland, but we won't get into all that. You met with Master Cicero, who was overseeing the construction of a new monastery, the Monastery of the Exarch, and he told you all about a raider group, a new raider group who he believes has been coming out of Aruda. They seem to be humans, but he's not sure. Doesn't even know what they call themselves, but they have been plundering, thieving, robbing, and enacting some violence upon the inhabitants of New Starbreeze. If you can find some outlaws on a roster of outlaws that you have been given, they all have bounties. Otherwise, he gave you his word that, of course, the Melissa's hold will furnish you with compensation for your trouble and the risk that you put yourself into. You went to Aruda, and Aruda is a decrepit neighborhood. Not only has it suffered from the ravages of the Infernal War, which was fought throughout many districts of Bazagon City, but it was a place that had some other problems. For example, there was the outbreak of the green, a substance that people became addicted to and started transforming people into slimy things. But again, we won't get into all the details because it's a bit much. In Aruda, you met with a priest, Gerdon Crystalfrond. He attended a small shrine, the House of Smoke and Elixir. There were some other elves hanging about there. Pretty hazy place. Seemed to be quite fond of various drinks and smokes. You all had a mixed bag of a conversation with him. And he seemed to downplay these raiders coming out of Aruda, saying that they were common street thieves. low rank ruffians, and he said the real problem are these tiefling hellions that are coming out of High Table. High Table, once upon a time, I shouldn't even say once upon a time, up to about 3 years ago when this big war happened, it was a very noble and opulent neighborhood. Now it is a ravaged ruin. So you all followed a lead. He suspects House Sravasa is behind the tiefling raiders that he says are causing much greater problems in both Aruda, New Starbreeze, and some other neighborhoods in the area here. So we sort of bypassed some of the travel bits just for the sake of not taking forever. I might do that a little bit differently because I tend to not gloss over travel. I like to actually utilize travel and random events as part of the adventure. So we'll kind of do it that way going forward. So you went through, you probably just skirted around the edge of the Vixfoy Hall, the ruined, what used to be the High Hall, and now it is not high in the least. You then would have shunted this way. This is just by the way, this map is just to give everyone a sense of what place leads to what. There's not literally all this space in between everything. Yeah. Think of it like a flow chart. So you technically had to go through part of this labyrinth here, the maze of fire and rust. That's probably the part we skimmed over. So let's say you just kind of navigated well. You didn't have to go deep into it. You passed by the. Yeah, who knows? Maybe you'll end up back there someday. You passed by the Fountain of Kyrios, and Veer had a moment of memory of how things were in the prior iteration of Bazagon. And you entered into the ruins of High Table, it fell from the lap of luxury into essentially the gutter and brokenness. There are some people still living here, but it's a rough squalor that they now are existing in. You spoke with some tieflings that were operating a repair shop. Mainly it was Veer, right? You were the one that mainly talked with them.
Yeah, I had I'd used Thieves' Cant to try and make contact and see whether there was any information on the tiefling bandits, as well as if there was any information on House Strasa. But alas, the people we spoke with didn't have any information for us and really wanted nothing to do with us.
Mm-hmm. It was a little awkward, I remember.
Indeed.
Yeah, you walked in there, you had a couple comrades with you. They seemed a bit how can I say this? I wouldn't say put off. I wouldn't say that. It was more there was certainly an air of unfamiliarity to them. And I'll just leave it at that because I don't like to dig into things that we can just dig into in game, and it's better in character.
Yeah, so I mean, we wound up leaving, and we found out that Gungle wound up investigating, some kind of I think it was a Grick that was attacking something. And,
a Grick had seized upon a mangy street mutt, and Gungle took it upon himself to defend the lowly beast. Unfortunately, it was
too late.
It was too late. It was preyed upon, though Gungle did avenge it quite viciously. Yeah, quite potently.
All the creatures of Bazagon deserve to live free and well and not be eaten by others. No, Grecs are not creatures. They got demoted when he murdered the puppy.
So you were on a street, think houses and buildings and shops that were once of the aristocracy with fine architecture. Now, doors and gates hanging on their hinges. There is damage both from like war sieges and fighting in the streets, and also just from looters. People have been plundering this neighborhood for a good 3 years now, since the end of the Infernal War. So you're pacing along. Gungle has done. Gungle has gungled, and you're all together there in the street once again.
What do we know? What does just like your average person know about that maze of fire or whatever? I forget the exact.
Maze of fire and rust.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes. Well,
Just generally, like, I mean, is it something where, like, people you wouldn't just casually stroll through there to get around?
that is correct.
Okay.
Some mazes can serve as passageways from one neighborhood to another. And oftentimes they're like the back way into another neighborhood, as opposed to taking a proper thoroughfare and then going through a gate that will be guarded and have a checkpoint and inspections and such.
Oh, okay.
So this labyrinth is, up until recently, was not one of those. It's only recently that we'll say tunneling was done to connect the Fallen High Hall to Fountain of Kyrios. That passageway didn't, that upper egress out of the maze of fire and rust did not used to exist there. It was strictly under the Vixfoy district.
Okay.
So that's new. But no, this is not known as a place that one simply strolls about to enjoy a leisurely walk.
Gotcha.
It is, as it has been named, it is known for having fire traps and old rusty spiky things all over the place.
Gotcha.
And most mazes have dungeon entrances where you can delve down into deeper levels.
Okay.
Yeah, I suspect showing
you just skirted.
Yeah.
I suspect showing that the Johan has opened a can of worms.
No, I was actually wondering, I was like, because once we saw that map, I had a little perspective, and I was like thinking, well, if they were just like lowly human raiders that went through that place to rob people, that seemed unlikely. But, or I thought, I don't know, I thought like going after the tieflings was maybe like, I was thinking they would have had a far way to go, but that kind of bears that out. It's like, well, if there's a better way to skirt by and stuff, then
there's a longer route, which really was the original proper route to get into what used to be the Xanthos Thrones district, which is where High Table's at. But you adventurers have like the shortcut through the maze, and why not? You've got the metal and the steel for it. So what do you reckon? You all are here in the street. You have a lead on visiting House Sravasa. You know where their manor home is at least the one remaining one that they have.
We were kind of hoping that was a last resort.
Yeah. I can look like a tiefling. I cannot act like one or do those checks needed to pull it off very well.
Well,
you don't speak their tongue, yes?
I do not speak their tongue, and not very good at telling falsehoods.
But you with your changeling capabilities are currently in the appearance of a tiefling.
Yes, and she's very much keeping her mouth shut to keep that up.
Any particular details about how this tiefling appears?
She's trying to match the description that was given to her as best she can of how
you're a red-skinned tiefling?
Red-skinned, yeah.
Okay, well, that is certainly the most common color of a tiefling. So if you're going for run-of-the-mill tiefling appearance, you're in the right direction.
Yeah, like she's to look common enough, like that people wouldn't suspect it, but not distinct enough to be like, oh, I know you.
And then Jovan, you're big. You're really big and tall. You're like 7 foot or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah, and you just have like a hood on and a bunch of adventuring gear.
Yes.
And then Gungle, you're a rather girthy, fiery colored orangish dwarf.
Yes, think Volstagg from the Warriors 3 if he was compressed.
And you've got your paladin battle regalia on full display.
Yes.
Okay. So it sounds like you all are there in the street, and you're just talking amongst one another, trying to decide. Okay, should we go to House Travasa, or should we do something different? You're kind of huddling.
That's really our only lead.
Oh, we could.
As you huddle, a group of 3 beggars come by. They are tieflings. They are scrawny. They are in rags. Can you spare anything?
Ren will get her stash of good berries, and that would probably she'll take a coin and give them each a coin. It's just going to be in her nature to do so.
Do you have anything to drink?
A
flea jumps off of the rag onto you.
Be gone, the lot of you! And I like pull my greatsword out and start not swinging the blade with the flat and banging it off the ground a little bit.
You're brandishing it rather than
Yeah.
Threatening.
They mumble in tiefling speech. I guess, Veer, you understand this.
infernally.
And they say something to the effect of, "Oh, the one hand is generous, the other smites." They cringe away with both fear mixed with gratitude for having come upon some coin.
So the what do you call it? So there's very little options. We could continue through the long way of trying to make contact with any of the seedy underbellies of the area. I imagine that the attempts would go many the same as we saw earlier today. Hopefully not all with our dwarven friend here off fighting monsters in the streets. But, we also have the more direct route of seeing what House Travasa might be able to tell us.
Let's nab someone from the house and just make them talk.
From the House Travasa?
Yes.
That I think that option was on the table at one point. Just grab somebody and beat it out of them.
Well,
I may have put it out before, and I'm sticking to it.
are we looking under the guise of out-and-out capture and interrogation? Or are we looking more along the lines of actual polite questioning?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know for sure that the tieflings from High Table are behind those raids. It's just what Gearden told us. But he was a wood elf, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Yes, you're talking about
Gearden.
Garden. Yes.
Okay.
I would say that I'd be willing to, not bet my house because it's already gone, but something of substantial value that Stravasa is not behind it, but they might have information.
Mm-hmm.
What if we start off being nice, and then, if that doesn't work, we can just, let Grungle do his thing, and because it's really hard to be nice after you torture somebody, but you can torture after being nice.
Right.
You haven't met my mother-in-law.
Yeah, I like that.
Are you married, Gungle?
Yes. See this braid here? And he digs a braid out of his beard. And it has, a special, beard bead around it. That signifies dwarven marriage.
Nice.
Wow.
In fact, there's actually there's a chain of them, one for each year. And then he covers it before you can count how many.
Does he have any other distinctive braids? I would ask. I'll ask.
So as he's fishing out, you can see that he's got several buried in his beard, but they're actually prominent. They're not displayed.
They're hidden under stuff.
Yeah, under.
Okay. Seems like he's private about it.
2 younger tieflings happen by. It can't be more than 16, 17, 18 years of age. One has a wheel cart that's laden with looks to be bricks. They're singing or at least chanting amongst themselves as they go. And you can understand them, Veer. It's just a kind of a rowdy, raucous, vulgar tune, street music.
Jovan would tap his foot. That was a good melody.
Are you the DM?
Not tonight, sweetheart.
Sorry, my daughter has not gone to bed yet. I apologize for that.
Save your spell slot. Don't cast sleep on her.
Yeah, use a cantrip. Eldritch Blast.
Hey, we could always. I mean, so if we're going to the house, let's head that way, right?
Yeah, I think we should absolutely try to look for someone in House Travasa and try to get some information one way or the other.
And I'm going to keep an eye out for potential pickpockets and such as we're making our way along the streets.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So
you all keep your eyes peeled as you walk through the streets, and pretty much any other individual, which it's not densely populated here, it's scarce, but you do see some people here and there as you pass by. You've only seen tieflings here thus far. They certainly notice your group.
Yeah, as I say, we stick out like a sore thumb for sure.
Yeah, particularly the Goliath and the fire dwarf, fiery colored dwarf. So you draw a lot of attention, or at least you draw the gazes of everyone that you pass by. You see some more street dogs. You see an alley cat, chomping on something. There's some crows cawing. So the scavengers of the carrion that is this neighborhood are still scraping an existence out of the fallen noble dwellings, residences. Yes. So you're going to come upon House Travasa fairly quickly. We should have Veer with us for this. So
where'd he get? Oh,
okay.
Sorry, I had to stop the phone from continuously ringing.
Come here.
Oh, yeah, good call on that.
Right.
So yes, no great length of time later, you've paced down a street, turned to the right, paced a bit more, taken a curving one to the left, and you come upon a manor home. It is snug in between a couple other manor homes. It's three stories tall, has like a stony outer protection wall with a gate, and you can see the indications of some hedges beyond the gate.
So I guess I would, if we're not trying to just nab somebody off the streets, then I would be, looking to be like, all right, we'll have to follow proper protocols. Technically at one point in time, my house was noble and a pretty likable tiefling. I don't know whether you would consider that as, history or just a general charisma check or somewhere in the middle. But I would try to follow, what the station would dictate for how you would gain audience or, whatnot.
Mm-hmm. Sure. For a well-to-do family, they're going to have servants. So it's usually as simple as just calling at the gate.
I do have one idea before we start. Because we don't know what's inside the house and how they might respond, I do have the ability to go into something really small, get under a door, do a tiny bit of scouting before we start. Should be unnoticed for the most part, go in like as an ant or something, and just kind of see what security they have in case this goes bad.
That is a good plan.
Just be careful not to get stepped on. I know that you will revert to your form, and
Is there anywhere? Like, what are we gonna? Where should we? Is there anywhere inconspicuous nearby?
Yeah, just let me know where you all want to position yourselves. If you want to stay farther back, if you want to stay somewhere out of view, whatever.
Imagine that Rin would have. I would imagine that Rin would have brought this idea, before we got to the gate. So it's not like, hold on.
Is there a nearby tavern we can reconvene at?
Along the way, you did pass by something where people were drinking, and it's like, an open front there on the street. By dwarven standards, you would not call that a true tavern, but it's at least a watering hole.
Then we'll wait there and hang out. And that's what I want to do anyway.
Mm-hmm. So
if you're not back at 20 rounds. No, 800.
So the three men stop off at the wine sink, and then the lady continues on in the guise of an ant.
Something small, ant, beetle, spider would be good.
Spiders will be able to climb.
Spider sounds good. Yeah, spiders are quite adept at climbing. Okay, so the three of you there waltz up in. There are at the moment 4 tieflings drinking. You can't tell if someone is like a proprietor of this establishment, if you can even call it an establishment. They don't talk to you if you don't talk to them. They don't offer you any service. They're just joking, and Veer, you can hear them, and so they just have day-to-day street talk, talking about mundane things and making some crude jokes and sipping from cups, basic pottery cups, ware cups. Do you ask for a drink? Do you interact, or do you just?
I'm just going to swing my leg over a chair, Riker style, and I have a little camp pack of utensils and stuff with little stacked tin cups in them, and I have a flask, and I'll just pour Gungle and Veraxion a drink because it didn't look like there was anybody here. It's just a place where people drink.
Yep. They don't even have proper chairs. They just have stumps, just chopped up stumps that aren't even the same height.
I like this rustic place.
Of course you would.
Any of you, are you the keep? Can we buy some wine or mead or ale or something?
Yes. You want wine?
Yes.
Hey. Okay, well, just all 3 of you.
Yes.
There you go. Well, it's 1 gold each.
1 gold each?
You have to go to the bathroom real quick?
Can get a bottle for I will pull out 3 gold, but I'm begrudgingly. I could get a whole bottle for a gold.
They speak to. He makes a comment to one of his comrades here in Infernal. Which Veer hears as, what the hell is this dwarf doing? Is he crazy? What does he think he's doing here?
So what type of wine are you offering?
There's one of the guys, and he's pouring out of a wineskin into 3 cups. It's a red wine. Red. Sets 3 out on the plank. There's like a plank that's laid on top of some bricks.
I like it. I'll wrap my big mitt around it and just, a glass for them is probably nothing for me. So.
He collects the 3 gold coins, swipes them up, pockets them. The oldest looking tiefling in the bunch, who is not the one who's already talking, he looks at you, Gungle. You are former Xanthos.
What is that?
You are former Xanthos.
Do I know what that is? What a Xanthos is?
Veer, he's trying to ask him if Gungle is a former member of the Xanthos throne. The district, the overall region of Bazagon you're in, was once controlled by a faction called the Xanthos Throne. They were comprised of dwarves and tieflings, and they had
Oh,
many
dwarves? I didn't know
mercantile
that.
and diplomatic dealings.
I'm proficient in history, so I don't know if that would assist me.
Well, you already certainly know about the Xanthos throne.
Yeah.
If you want to like ask about a specific, more obscure or deeper detail, then you could do a history check. But I think common knowledge, you would be well aware of who the Xanthos were and all that. And
But I never worked for. I would have never worked for them, right? That's not.
well, it's up to you. You tell me about your character.
Oh,
Are you ex Xanthos, or did you never have anything to do with those?
Were Xanthos the ruling class before?
They were one of the big four factions.
Uh-huh.
They and the Argus Legion aligned with the archdevil Geryon and set out for world domination, including and primarily in Bazagon. They were the losing side of the war.
So my background is I'm a noble, and I serve Bazagon. So whatever would be more in line with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what's your inkling when you think about Gungle? Do you think I was once associated, if even loosely, with what is seen nowadays as the enemy that was defeated? Or do you think that, no, you were on the other side and you were in a more, mixed bunch, like maybe the upper...
He's
echelon?
loyal to the throne, regardless of who sits on it.
You're loyal. Okay, so the throne is brand new. So this is the first dragon emperor is like on the throne now. The Palace of Mitra,
and that's within the last 4 years.
The war ended 3 years ago.
And okay,
yeah. Before that, it was like the four factions each were ally/rivals. They competed against each other, but they also served their own functions to help the whole metropolis function. Now it's solidified under the Dragon Emperor. Literally the god Mitra was here in the flesh. Then he ascended up to the astral plane and then appointed Anji, the Dragon Emperor. And it's like all solidified. And the old Xanthos throne and Argus Legion, those who are not killed in the war were either taken as prisoners and are kept in dungeons, or they, I don't know, what do we call this? Swapped sides. They swore fealty to the Empire.
So this particular lord, did he come from one of those four factions?
Which particular lord?
The one that's in charge now.
Okay. So he came out of Corrado, which was a lower class. It's a big district.
Yeah.
It's just like the salt of the earth, like Bazagonians, immigrants. It's just a big common district. So he came out of there. His family traces back to Magnaland. He rose up through an adventuring party. This literally was my campaign that just concluded. So he went from like a beginner level adventure up to like level 21, and was like, but he was never aligned with Xanthos. He was actually aligned with the Melissus Hold, which that faction is still around, and that's the faction that kind of led to the dragon god being reincarnated.
Then I would come from Xanthos, and when that particular when he was raised up basically by divine edict, then that's when Gungle would have swore allegiance to the new throne.
It's fitting. I mean, there's even a caldera in the old Xanthos district, and their god was Zamankar the Forge Master. So you very well could have been brought up in that, Mr. Firebeard. But then after the war ended, you swore off your prior allegiance and swore a new oath to the throne, to the Empire.
So when he says Zarathos, does he say, like, can I garner anything from how he's saying it?
Make an insight check.
Ooh, insight check.
All right. That's going to be 8 on the die, so that's a 9.
Sounds like he is just wanting to know if you are former Xanthos.
You have to decide.
I mean...
So I kind of lean in, and Gungle is kind of short. So I imagine I have to look up at him. And but he's got like these meaty forearms and these fists that look like they just look like they're stones or rocks. Short, fat, stubby fingers, and I kind of squint a little bit. What's it to you?
I just want to know who I am drinking on the table.
Yeah, I followed the old ways until I found something better.
You have some idea for better. I put my he says to you, Veer, like, can you translate for me?
I have to say, like, Veer was kind of sitting back, watching Gungle struggle a little bit, and he's while a pretty likable guy, he can sometimes be a jerk. So he was just trying to see how much this was going to flounder for a little while, just for his own sick amusement. He's a noble jackass sometimes, what have you. So he, of course, says yes, gladly.
Good. I am producing wine here. It is the wine you're drinking now. It's great. As this dwarf here knows of a way in which I could open my establishment, proper establishment, outside of this rat nest. I would very much like opportunity in different place if he is insinuating he knows a better place.
He is looking to open his business outside of this grand facade. What do you think of his wine?
How is his wine?
Well,
Bathtub wine.
You would peg it as common red wine. It's nothing that knocks your boots off. It's not bad.
Or it'd be like 7.99.
It's the wine that just anybody would buy.
Is it like the any wine
regular
you would get,
daily table wine?
Is it like the any wine you would get from like an Italian family that makes their own wine? It tells you how great it is, but it's just like
yes, it's exactly that.
Yeah.
It's to send your husband to the store to get wine, and that's what he comes back with.
Would it come in a box?
So you consider it run-of-the-mill daily red. It's probably watered a bit, as is typical.
It's the Yes Way Rosé of wine.
I've been going into a very detailed process of the bureaucracy involved in opening a proper establishment or business. Painful detail.
So after he gets about 4 or 5 sentences into this, and you see
your translator
eyes rolling, he just turns and looks at this guy, and just begins to say, he says it is very complicated to open a new business. He feels that the wine is missing, and forgive my my lack of alcoholic knowledge, but insert some random spice or ingredient that would make sense to spice it up. It's lacking that. So
yes, I understand. It must be very difficult, complicated to get this thing with the sanction of the new government that we have here now. But if there's something he knows where I could start a person to talk to, I would be glad of this.
So, Gungle, if there's anyone that we might be able to name drop, this could allow this to go smoother. Is there anyone that you would be able to recommend?
I ignore Veer and I turn to him. Do you have a quill and ink and some parchment?
Quilty. You want
Right.
him?
Right down
right.
for you.
You went right. Very good. They are taking a long time to produce this, but they eventually do come up with something that he can write. They have a piece of parchment and a piece of coal.
Okay, I'll make use of it. It's kind of tough on my stubby fingers, but so I think the process that Veer kind of skipped over, I began writing out, and I put like the proper bureaucrat they would have to talk to. I figure since I have the noble background, I probably know like that kind of stuff. Like you knew how to get the meetings and stuff. This probably will not help them in any way. It'll just give them a starting point, and it will not. Yeah, I won't. I don't even sign my name.
Okay, so you give him a name of a contact, and he. Yes, I'm very thinking in this. And he takes.
It's written in common. Does he understand common?
he shares with the other two guys, and they're trying to pronounce the name out here. It's Ebonari. Those are Ebonari.
It's close enough. Once you get into the proper district, they'll be able to point you in the right direction. Just show them that name.
They heartily thank you. So what's the spider Rin doing?
She is trying to get in, which should be, I mean, she's small, like it's a small spider. So I'm trying to get in at probably the front door. I mean, any opening, crack, anything she can kind of just work her way in easy enough, and just wants to get a lay of the land, see what they have in the way of guards, what they have in the way of like just basic security.
Yep, there's a high stony protective wall with like spikes, set in the top of it on the outside, and a gate of like iron bars. You slip past the bars, and then you're in a yard. It's not a large yard by any means, but it has some well laid stone floor. It has some hedges that look to be kept up. You follow up the little walking path. The front door actually is open. And inside, there are some people going about their daily affairs. There is, one tiefling that you see immediately upon entering. He looks to be, maybe you'd call him a major domo, some kind of head servant. So he is going about, he's dressed in practical but well-made clothing. It looks like there's a couple other minor servants that are helping him. All in all, just upon him, going through the ground level, through a dining area, personal quarters, kitchen, storage, garderobe, such. There's maybe a half dozen people here. You did notice that there are 2 higher stories. Maybe there's basement. There's another detail. You hear someone playing a harp from upstairs. You hear the notes of melancholy harp music.
I definitely want to check out the other floors just to see what is there. You can never trust these noble types.
Yeah, I mean, they're going about their daily affairs of cleaning the house and preparing food, and they're getting ready to send someone out to run an errand. There's a lot of concerns about what are we going to do. The food and supplies are very scarce, and they're checking a list of stores that they have in their cellar. So it all seems fairly day to day, at least for someone who lives in a difficult and run down neighborhood. You're going upstairs, is that right?
I'm going upstairs, and do I also see anything just that would be out of the norm whatsoever? Any anything that would strike as unusual to just be in a home, like an idol or anything of that nature? Just things
Torture rack, shrine.
Yeah.
A ritual room with a victim.
So how's my mother?
Bandit land.
Maybe they put a torture rack next to the harp room. It kind of eaches one versus the other.
There is something that catches your eye. Small detail, nothing shocking. There are a number of pieces of art, most of them sculptures, but some of them are also written art, poetry or stories on paper. And they're all incomplete. You see no complete work of art in this manner.
Interesting.
Spider Ren takes a moment to admire the art and then sighs at the lack of conviction to finish it and goes on.
Also, there's going to be another thing that's going to happen, but before that, I'm trying to think. It might be an insight check. Insight's wisdom. Yeah, let's do an insight check.
Okay.
Just to further that detail.
Go ahead. And first roll decision is a 17.
Okay, that's good enough. As you are thinking to yourself about the lack of conviction, you note most of the furnishings that you would generally associate with a nice manor home such as this one are not here, as though they have either been sold or stolen. It has a kind of stripped out, bare bones look to everything.
Would it be too much of an assumption to think that they could be on some financial hard times?
Everyone in this neighborhood is on
even a
very
like
desperate
even a
times.
noble. Okay.
Yes. Though that said, this house Travasa clearly is doing better than most other people that still live in this ruined neighborhood. Like, their house doesn't have a wall that's collapsed, and everyone here has, like, their clothes are clean and they look like they have some amount of food.
But it could be something along the lines of like a gilded lily almost. Like you keep. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be. As you're heading up the stairs, someone suddenly starts coming down the stairs. It is, you might call it a guardsman. I mean, he is certainly wearing the attire of a guardsman in terms of like he's got on a chain shirt, and he has a spear in hand, and I don't know where you might keep a crossbow when you're not using it. Is there some sort of crossbow holster, like a light crossbow holster, and a quiver or case of bolts? So, you know, some kind of light to medium armor. Tiefling, guardsman, house guard, and his boot is about to like come right down on you. Make a dexterity saving throw.
Hang on 1 second. I have to go on
spider. You got to use the spider's.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the spider stats real quick.
Which might be better or worse than your natural one.
Got it. Oh, wow. 22, natural 20.
Good thing for you, because I think if you get killed as a spider, or not killed, but dropped to zero, you come back as you. Yeah, that would have been interesting. Well, this is also interesting. So he is oblivious that there was just a little spider on the staircase there, and you dart to the side, and the boot, you know, like rumbles the ground to you as this tiny little thing, and he just continues down, and he's chatting now with some of the servants as he is making his way towards the front door, or the portico or whatnot there. Do you continue up the stairs?
I continue up the stairs, but take 2 seconds to shake a little leg in anger, and then move forward.
You continue upstairs.
Yeah.
There are personal chambers upstairs. There are a number of different personal rooms. There's like a main corridor that connects to a lot of different doors. You see at the far end of it, there are stairs that go up yet once again. The sound of the harp music is coming from an open door on this second floor here.
I'm going to check out the harp music.
Okay. You creep along sneakily as a spider, and there's an open door. Inside there is a woman, a tiefling woman, who is wearing a gown. It's an elegant gown, a beautiful gown. It has a green color. It's a little on the revealing side. She's a beautiful woman by tiefling standards, at least for those that are of that persuasion. She has horns that just kind of come up, not gigantic ones. She has her hair somewhat done back, and she's plucking on the harp. You also see on a stand next to her is some pieces of paper, an inkwell, a quill, and you see, like, you know, she's written out some things, scratched out some others. She looks like she's trying to write a song or compose a song, but she will stop, scratch her chin, scribble something, I crumple up the paper, start again. It's a beautiful music, but with a melancholy air about it all, a lament maybe.
Okay. Can I see the words on the song?
Mm-hmm. It's in infernal.
Okay, never mind. I will not
Yes.
be able to read that.
Okay.
But she kind of nods. And little spider. And then goes ahead and just kind of just checks up and makes sure there's no one else here. So I know there's a scarred. There's a noble woman, looking woman playing music. And how many people were in the house so far that I've seen?
Let's see. You've seen the head servant. You've seen like two like younger basic servants. You've seen that guardsman. You've seen two other men, not old men, but younger men. You've seen now the harpist. You also can hear voices. You hear like a woman and some children's voices from a different room here on the second floor. So like maybe there's like a lady and 2 or 3 children. There's a third story still.
I'm going to check out the third story real quick, and then I'll get back to the group.
Okay. You continue through the corridor with the melodies and notes of the harp plucking and reverberating through the air, and every once in a while she'll stop and eventually will resume again. You go up yet once more. At the top of the third set of stairs, there's a door, a shut door. And since I have no specific notes about this door, other than it's like a door that's shut and locked, I'm just going to roll to see what kind of cracks it may or may not have. Yeah, if you're a little spider, you could squeeze yourself underneath the door crack if you are so interested.
Yeah, I'm going to do that real quick because, I mean, the whole point here is getting as much information as I can.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll go through.
All right. So you go up into the third floor. And the third floor, you see here there's a large room and there's a small room. The small room looks like a small personal chamber. There is a bed. It has a kind of a gauzy canopy drape over it. There's dust in this room. The rest of the manor is being attended and cared for. It's swept clean, but this room has dust and cobwebs in it. The door was shut and locked on that one too, so I guess you went under the door crack to peek into that room. The larger room doesn't have a door; it's just like an open door frame. And here it looks like they throw darts or axes, like there's like a mounted target on the wall. There are some stuffed and mounted animal heads. A game room, a sport room. Nobody's up on the third floor. It's all shut and locked.
Okay. Then I am going to go ahead and head on down. And I just want to do one thing before I exit the house of Spider Wren. I am going to go ahead and just see if there's any basement area.
There is. Yep. So you creep along the second story and down those stairs back to the main floor where there's the most activity taking place. And then you go through a kitchen area where they're preparing food. The 2 servants are preparing food, and you sneak past them. They're quite distracted with their duties. And there is a door. It's actually open, just like a basic door leading with some stairs leading down behind it that go down into a cellar. It's a little bit cooler down here. There are obviously food storage that you can see. There are 2 more shut doors. And since I'm on the kick of rolling things, and as a dungeon master, I love doing random rolls, by the way.
Who doesn't?
Okay. There are 2 doors. One is shut and has like an iron padlock on it. And it looks like the crack in that door is very, very tiny. You could attempt to squeeze through it, but it's going to be a challenge for you. The other door is a very strong reinforced door that actually has like a metal lip around it and has like studs and metal bands on it. It's a reinforced door of some sort. There's no way for you to squeeze through that one.
I'm going to try to go through the other one.
Make an acrobatics check.
As a spider.
Yes.
That would be
Spider must have some modicum of dexterity.
16.
16 is well enough. You find yourself in a storage room that has all kinds of food and drink, like hoarded amounts of food and drink. You're just looking around, the hard cheeses and barrels of preserved meats and grains and barrels of wine, and there's like a little cistern, right, for water. This, just gauging about the amount, maybe it's like a dozen people living here. They could easily live for half a year on what's hoarded up in this room.
And then above, it seems like they are struggling with money. So.
Well, it's stripped out of all nice furnishings. Mm-hmm. That's one thing. It seems like they're trying to be organized. Yeah, and keep things regimented and not all willy-nilly.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks like they're trying to be cautious and keep this place afloat.
Yeah, so they're basically preparing for, if really bad times hit, they're good to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which that is their present situation. So It seems, but who knows? A lot of them are talking, but I guess you can't understand what they're saying.
Can I ask a question that Rin might think of, and it's up to you guys how you want to play it?
Go for it.
Is any of the nice stuff that would normally be up there down here to basically hide the wealth?
You haven't seen anything like that.
Okay.
So far, everything you've seen stored up here is necessities, mainly food and drink, and like some, like we'd probably call it a healer's kit in player's handbook terms, but bandages and some tinctures and whatnot, candles, tinderbox. No riches, no piles of gems and jewels and gold. Though there is that really reinforced door. Who's to say what's behind that?
Okay.
You want to shape into a bear and try to maul it down?
Theoretically, I could.
Or a warthog.
And I would have to then explain why there's just a strange person and get out as a bear, and that feels problematic.
Yeah.
No, I think.
Okay. In terms of you were kind of interested in forces, right?
Yeah.
Well, there was definitely one suited up guardsman, and you've seen, there's at least a good few people here that look like they're in fine condition. Who's to say, are they trained? Do they have gear or not? So if you had to just roughly estimate it, there's maybe 4 or 5 people here that would be able to put up a fight. It's very rough, so I'm just shooting you the most vague of terms here.
Now, I am being tempted right now. If I do go into bear and tear it down, then I'd have to go back into my form and stealth my way out, theoretically trying to figure out the success of that. But I've seen people in the house so far, haven't I?
Oh, yes. Just right behind you, there's stairs that just go right up to the kitchen where there are people preparing.
So I could go in bear, knock down the door, hopefully, see what's there, pretend to be somebody from the house, and get out that way.
Hey, Larry, why is there a bear in the basement?
You quiet, bear. It happens.
Hey, I'm sorry. We don't kink shame here.
You tell me. Let me know what you want to do. I don't know if were you wanting to check with me on something there?
No.
How well could you pose? as a member of House Cervasa?
Well, I mean, I saw them, so I could pose as somebody and just get out the door real quick, or a servant.
Mm-hmm. You could certainly try it. What are the downsides to that? Well, you don't speak the language, so if someone talks to you, could be an issue.
But nobody talks to servants anyway, so if I just nod and yes, I have it. No, I'm joking.
There was a lot of conversation, including the servants. You don't get the feeling that these are just generic, street urchins that line up in the morning, like, please, I'll work for a copper. Like they're members of the house, even if they are of the lowest rank.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and get out and tell them, and then not destroy everything before they get a chance to do something. So
one final note of interest as you are leaving, the guardsman that you had seen previously head towards the door, he is actually in the there's like a little portico and then a minor courtyard. It's not large at all. It's just a small yard with flagstone and some hedges, and he is out on the portico having received someone or maybe welcomed back some people that had been out. You don't know what their relationship are, but there's two other individuals, and they're both tieflings. They are dressed in noteworthy clothing that has style to it. Like one is a kind of a doublet, a fine doublet of velvet, and he is holding on to a staff, and not just any old branch off of a tree, but like a prepared and treated and carven staff. And the one by his side is actually wearing, it's nicer quality, but it's very severe, the clothing, like black leather. And he is practicing fire tricks. You don't think it's magic. You think he's using like oil or some alcohol or something, but he'll like spit fire and like, juggle some flaming pins. And they're having a time of it. Like they're all pretty happy. And the one with the staff, like even does some minor magic, like prestidigitation tricks.
One last question I have: would there be a way to get in the house from the basement itself? Like, is there a cellar door or any back way like that?
There's not a cellar door, but there is a back door that is close to that cellar, that stairway down to the cellar. You've seen a front door that you went through, a back door close to the stairs going down to the cellar, and then the second and the third story both have windows. Right now, the shutters are the shutters are open on the second floor, but closed on the third floor.
Okay, then I'm going to go out as Spider Wren and go report back to the others. And as soon as I get somewhere safe and isolated, I'll change back into my normal form. Well, actually, changing. Yeah, just. Okay. I guess tiefling still, but yeah.
Cool. So you go past the guardsman, and he is not keeping a super watchful eye on things. He's actually busy seeing this routine or something these other two are working on, and they're having a jolly time and with distracting themselves. So you just slip out of there and you go back to the fellows who are drinking some red wine and having a somewhat language barrier conversation with some vendors that have hopes and dreams of opening a true proper tavern outside of High Table, outside of the ruined streets. So you're all back together.
So what were you able to find out?
Not a whole lot upstairs. There's a pretty lady who plays the art. A lot of a lot of incomplete art. It looks like they're selling some stuff off. They have a guard, like they have a little bit of muscle, not too much, but the basement's really weird. Like they've stocked up on so much food and wine, and then there's this door that like I couldn't get through. But seems like something's behind there of importance. Like they really don't want anybody seeing what's behind there.
Well, that could either be where they're keeping their valuables, or it could be a link to whatever they're doing with the bandits, but like I said, I am not inclined to think that they're actually related.
David could be keeping the stolen goods in there.
A vault would be a good place to keep that sort of thing.
I mean, it kind of makes sense. If you went upstairs, they're like selling stuff off, and it looks like they're trying to just get by, but they really like are stocked up. Like, if everybody in this place were to starve, they wouldn't starve.
Maybe they're planning something.
That is,
it does seem like they're planning something. If it's just to survive, maybe, but nobles.
Can we maybe sneak in through the basement?
There's a back door that can kind of get you down there. We could definitely try. When I left there, there was some weird like stuff going on outside with like a showman. Maybe they were kind of seeing that kind of might provide a little bit of distraction.
Does this city have a sewer system?
Oh yeah. Yep. There's an older sewer that's not in this district. There's a newer sewer, there's a number of different sewer networks. Yeah, there's sewer networks, there's aqueducts, there's waterways.
Maybe we can get in through the sewers, come up from beneath.
I like an idea.
We're still looking to go this route, not just have a pleasant conversation.
Maybe I'm unclear. Didn't we think they just might have info, or do we think they're behind with like funding this stuff or controlling it?
The wood elf was dead set that it's them. They did it.
This house or just tieflings?
I think he was throwing this house under the bus.
Oh, okay.
I think
Garden seemed to implicate House Pravasa as being behind the tiefling.
I had slappy note taking. I had those names written down. Okay, got it. Sorry.
But wasn't the wood elf also kind of really racist towards tieflings in
Yes,
general?
very racist.
And, wanted it to be them more than anything.
Well, I still like the idea. Veraxion, you think you can connect with them on that level. We know all the layout of the place, and it sounds like there's just regular people.
So, Veer, you think you can get an audience and go in and poke around and talk to them?
I would like to attempt that first. Yes.
That's a good idea. And I kind of pat him on the back and kind of start pushing him in that direction.
I will make it look like it was my plan all along, and as he pats me on the back, I will just go in stride.
I huddle with the other two immediately after he's out of sight. All right. Veer seems really, really into these guys, and I don't know. I don't know if it's the bloodline loyalty, they're tieflings, he's tieflings, but he really seems like he's for these guys, and that wood elf was really likable, and he seems sure these guys are the responsible.
I think this is very hard for Veer. Weren't these people your house did not ally with the Xanthos throne, and they did, right? You're the only one that didn't. I thought, isn't that what we? So this is probably real hard for Veer.
Maybe, I don't know.
Or I missed it. I thought that was.
He could have told us anything.
But he has kind of fought with us and helped keep us alive and all of that. Why would they? Do you think he could be so easily swayed by, a pair of horns and a tail?
Maybe he's trying to get back in. Maybe this is his chance to rise back up to his former glory.
I never thought about that.
Maybe we should try and infiltrate from beneath while he infiltrates through above. And then he doesn't have to be complicit.
I'm going to make one of those rolls what's Megan call?
Denozo?
Yeah. Okay.
Denobo.
Denobo.
Yes.
So the three of you have a lot of good questions, and there are unknowns in the current situation. So we'll kind of leave you all discussing to yourselves, and then we'll pan over to Veraxion,
Sure,
aka Veer, the last and true scion of House Eraethian. You make your way over to the manor home of House Sravasa, and you come upon a front gate of iron bars. It's shut. It's currently latched, locked from the other side. There's a stony wall, and at the top of the stone wall are these like iron spikes to ward off would-be cat burglars.
So I will go through those processes that I discussed, said it earlier of like, call upon the servant to gain an audience.
Mm-hmm. Sure. So yeah, just in a confident and hearty greeting, you'll call out, "Ho there to House Sravasa,"
and knowing that it is entirely possible that I might have to wait. I will do as any good noble will, and I pull out a book to just have something to do. I'm not really reading.
There's a quick response. You hear a voice shout back in Infernal, "Who comes there?"
It is I, Veraxion of the late House Eraethian. I have questions and would seek an audience if one who is Yes.
One moment. Good moment goes by. Good long moment goes by. And then a starting to gray tiefling approaches the door. It's actually a little bit different than starting to gray. He is starting to gray, like his hair is starting to gray, but he also has patches on his skin, on his face, and any exposed skin you can see where the red has turned grayish. And even one of his eyes is like grayed and cataract. He unlatches the gate and swings it open. Good afternoon. May I help you?
Hello. I am, as stated, I am Veraxion of the former House Eraethian, and I am investigating some things that are happening within High Table, and I was hoping that someone of your noble house might have a moment to treat with me and perhaps aid in my investigation.
What is happening in High Table? This is concerning.
So
he looks kind of, down the street this way and down the street that way, then back to you. The one grayed out cataract eye, always pointing straight forward.
So might I know with whom I treat? And I hold out my hand as a gesture of greeting.
I am Varks, head servant of House Sravasa. He meets your greeting.
There is increased activity with a group of bandits, and I know that your house is proud and long-lived, and I know of none better who might be able to offer information to aid in my search.
The bandits. You're wanting to speak with Lulia?
If they are indeed willing to speak with me, yes.
It is just you that have come.
It is just I, yes. There are those seeking information, but they are relying on me to do what is necessary.
I see. Veraxion, come with me. I will take you to Lulia. I believe she will have you. Come. He gestures you to enter onto the grounds of her house.
Well, then I will follow his lead.
Okay. Shuts, relatches the gate, and he asks if you would be so patient. Will you be so patient as to wait here on the portico?
By all means.
Can I get you anything whilst you wait?
I am sated for the moment, but it is in high esteem that I hold the noble house for offering such.
Very well. Just 1 minute. I will speak with Lulia. And so he goes inside the house. The front door is actually open, and he just walks in. You can hear voices and typical activity going on inside the house, as any active household would have. And it actually takes more than a minute. They have you waiting for kind of a while.
Well,
he comes back and checks on.
I pull out the book, and again, I'm not really reading it. I will turn pages and make it look like I am occupying myself, but for the most part, I am listening. I'm looking past the book to try and gain any information.
Oh, sure. Okay. Go ahead and roll a perception check.
So let's find out what my bonus is. All right, not as huge as I would like. That is going to be a 14.
There's activity. I mean, just general sounds of talking, walking, items being moved or shuffled about. Nothing.
I'm mainly making sure that no one is trying to sneak up on me.
And the only during your wait, the only thing that happens is the head servant Varks comes back, and he just kind of pokes his head out. It will just be a minute longer. I am sorry to keep you waiting.
No,
India was not expecting you and wants to be presentable.
No need of apology necessary. I did not send a writ of my coming, and therefore I am with no end in patience and waiting.
Yes, very good. Just 1 minute more, if you please. He goes back inside. Again, just more vague sounds of whatever's going on inside the house. And then he comes back once again. I am so sorry to keep you waiting, but Luli will see you now. Please come this way, sir.
So I, make put a bookmark in to note where I am and whatever it is that I'm reading, stow it back in, and again follow in the lead.
Okay. You inside. You pass by what you would describe as 4 guardsmen. They're wearing some light chain shirts, have kind of a basic, tiefling half helm on. They have their spears up. They have some light crossbows at their side. Yeah, just house guardsmen that are showing some respect to another nobleman who is, calling at their household. There's a few other children, and they're eating and playing. And there's a couple other household members.
So there are more guards now than when Rin came through.
Yeah. Yes. And he leads you up. You go past all these people that are on the ground level, and he leads you up the stairs onto the second level. There is an open door. You hear the sound of harp music playing. I guess you probably heard it the whole time. A beautiful, bittersweet melody that haunts the air, and he ushers you into this room, which is
it have I been hearing the same pattern?
Well, I wouldn't call it exactly a loop. Yeah, they're floating notes, but there is something incomplete about it all. It sounds, when someone isn't actually playing a properly composed song and they're sort of I guess jamming maybe is the word I would use.
Okay.
Improvising. Mm-hmm.
Okay, improvisational.
Yes. So he leads you into this personal chamber. It's a good-sized room, and it has some well-made furnishings, though nothing in it strikes you as, whoa, exquisite art, beautiful, adorned silver mirror. It's kind of stripped, and you've kind of noticed this throughout the house. A lot of the luxurious furnishings are stripped or gone or something. It's just not here. In the room, seated at a large wood harp, is a tiefling woman who has some small to medium horns frontward facing. She has her hair done back. You can smell her perfume from across the room. Beautiful green gown on. There are 2 other individuals. They're not just right up next to her. They're kind of, at a little table in the corner. And they stand up when you walk in the room out of politeness. One is holding a nicely carven staff, and he's wearing a fine doublet. The other one is wearing this black leather straps and buckles attire, and he has like
Edgelord.
he has like this belt on with some pouches and like some daggers stuck in and some flasks. He looks sort of like a roguish fellow or something, right? So this is Lulia here. Yes, this is Lulia Stravasa. Yes, she's got to be close to 40 years of age. You're loosely familiar with House Stravasa. Maybe you've spoken with her, and at formal events before, at dances and gatherings and such. You're pretty sure her husband and her brother died in the war. And she's also like the current head of the household.
She attractive?
Yes. For those that are of the tiefling persuasion, she's a beautiful woman. Yeah, there you go. Beautiful woman, reddish skin. Her tail, she always keeps it in this like nice little coy curl. And she ceases her playing when you arrive, and she just she looks up at you and she stands and gives you a gesture.
So I bow deeply, not as a gesture of absolute respect. This is her home, and conveying the message that she has complete authority here. And while I was born a noble, really don't have a house to stand on, so. It's basically showing that I am aware of the roles and stations.
You keep to the traditions. You keep to the courtesies that you were raised on, and she recognizes that. Hello, Veraxion. It has been a long time since I have seen you. How are you?
Indeed, much has clearly transpired. My house being no more. I am eternally thankful that you were willing to treat with me today. There are numerous
my heart weeps at knowing what befell of your household.
Well, it was not to be for House Eraethian. Whether they sided right or wrong, they are no more, and I am stripped of that which I had. But that is tears for another day.
It is a difficult time for all. Some have suffered more than others.
Indeed. And those in High Table continue to suffer. And it is for that reason that I am brought here today. As I stated, there are numerous rumors that abound. I am certain that one as well informed as yourself, as noble House Stravasa is, knows of the banditry that is happening within this area of the city.
We keep a watch over our house at all times for such bandits. They come from, I think, well, what do you know?
Well, I do not wish to poke the sleeping bear or set fire to places that burn fast.
The guy wearing the dark leather, when you say that, he just like gets this big devilish grin.
But there are nasty rumors that the bandits actually are belonging to your house.
This is a lie. This is a lie.
I am
not coming from my household.
I am not claiming such. I am merely telling you of the rumors that I have heard. I did not believe them when I came across them. But
we are innocent of these current raids. We want nothing to do with the fallen Xanthostrom.
Now there was nothing
that is behind this.
There was no mention of fallen Xanthostrom when Gerdin said something before, correct?
I don't know if he was that specific or not, but I mean, this doesn't strike you as out of place. I mean,
Okay. All right.
there certainly are people that, will to their dying breath, fight for what, was their faction, even if they're
Okay.
just like the last little remnants hiding out somewhere.
So
Which she is actually claiming when she mentioned just then and there.
what house did she say?
It is House Traxi that does these.
The Traxi?
They have a hideout.
Well, as
They are not all gone.
it's as lowly as it would have to be to admit, I am forced to find work and maintain a life similar to that which I knew, and I am trying to earn a living with, and I gesture towards the rapier at my side. I would much prefer to live in the fondness that I had of my past, but as I said, it is gone. So I am tracking down bounties and trying to remove those that do wrong for our fair city. So
if
you
you're
say
looking for bounties, I would be certain that the Traxi are all wanted outlaws.
And you say that the rumors are that they're around, that they are no more, but you think they are still alive?
Yes, I know they are. They have a hideout.
Do you happen to have any information on where that might be?
Yes, I know where it is at. She
And
sits back down at her harp.
so I have a sense of how she plays from my time of waiting and just the walk through the house. So I want to kind of move along to the music, not dance, but clearly show that the music is affecting me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she plays, she sings, pierced through the heart, and you're an hour delayed. My dear, you give unto love a moniker of shame.
So
I cannot finish. She like turns and like looks out the window, playing with strands of her hair as she does.
So what might it
I've
take?
been unable to finish any song since this damnable war came. Since I lost my brother, my husband.
Let's see here.
I cannot live here.
I am not. I'm not trained in performance.
The Traxi hides out in their hole, and they send out raiders everywhere. Anywhere close by. High Table, Aruda, even perhaps so far as Nustarbiz, Altum Atrium. I heard rumor they conspired to poison the fountain. Children claim this fountain sometimes.
I've actually been to the fountain, and it is full of memories. It is sad the state which we currently live. I am sorry that your house has seen better days. Perhaps there are ways to make it come back. Is there anything from?
I would want nothing so much as this. If there is something that you could perhaps do for me, and I would give unto you what I do know. I know the location of the Traxis hideout. I know who is behind their raids.
So what would you ask of me to walk away with this very important information?
Is there any way that you could speak with your masters or whoever it is that has sent you on this task and plead our case? Clear the name of House Ravasa. Let us build a new home. We will accept any place. We will accept New Star Breeze. We will build the house ourselves with our own hands.
Well, I will absolutely take your request, and I offer out my hand to basically, convey the importance of such a thing. Does she gesture out as well?
She in a noble lady sense,
Yeah,
lets you
absolutely.
take
So
her hand.
I take it in both hands and hold it to my forehead. Again, a sign of gesture, but also of submittance. And while this conversation is going on,
We will swear publicly if it is needed. We have nothing to hide in this. We have no lingering loyalty for Xanthos. We will swear them all off. They and all devil kin. We just want our name cleared in a new start. We cannot live in this place. My children cannot grow up here. What they will learn on the street, they will become thieves themselves. Or worse, they will die.
well, we certainly don't want something like that.
This is no place to live. This is scarcely better than living in the labyrinths.
Been in the labyrinths. So while I've been having this conversation, my brain has been kind of replaying the last bit of what she has been singing, and I honestly you said it quickly, but I would have imagined that Veraxion would have been paying attention, having seen the life of nobility for quite a while. He's trained in all the noble arts, so he's gotten exposure to a lot of different stuff. Is it possible to make either a charisma check, insight roll, something, and be able to just offer some form of inspiration to see if I could add another line to her song and see if that takes her somewhere?
Make a performance check.
All right. That is a 16 on the die for a total of 19.
Beautiful. So you suggest to her a poetic line that fits, the rhyme and the meter of the song that she's composing. It's beautiful. Yes, I can use that. She sweeps over to where her stand is at, scribbles down something, crosses out a word, scribbles something else. I thank you so much for this. She kisses both of your cheeks. If you can see to it with your masters to appeal our case, I would be in your debt.
I will do all within my meager power, my lady.
The black leather clad fellow, he gives you a nice grin and a nod. You're a good man, a brave man too. You really think that you will defeat House Detraxi? Yeah. Perhaps it is better that you get this permit to dwell in New Star Breeze first before you go and adventure into that den of vipers. You may not come out alive.
I have ways to do multiple things at the same time.
The one with the staff says, "The Traxi possesses more than you know."
And what is that?
There is much that I have to tell you that will help you. Only in due time. Go first, see if you can, if this is a possibility that it can be arranged for my house to begin anew in New Star Breeze, this neighborhood of hope. We will speak more then.
Might I have a writ saying that I am pleading on behalf of the house?
I will have Varks draw it up. So she summons back into the room the major domo. she explains to him the formalities of what she's attempting to accomplish there. I will have it drawn up for you momentarily. I will give it to you before you leave, Sir Veraxion.
Sir no longer, but I appreciate the gesture.
Indeed, master. So Varks excuses himself to go, get a document drawn up. Okay, so she wants her house's name cleared. She wants permission to buy a home, or even she said they're willing to build their home themselves if they could get a lot or something in New Starbreeze or some other proper district.
Excuse me.
And if you can accomplish that for her, she says she has a lot of information about House Detraxi, including their whereabouts, their lair.
So is there property available in New Starbreeze that I would be aware of? Like, or is it
so? I mean, you don't live there. You went there at the summons of Cicero, but just in walking through the place, it seemed like the whole thing is under construction.
Awesome.
So seems reasonable. Seems likely.
Now we just have to have the rest of the party not be a a major problem to this plan.
All right. Does Veer have anything else that he does here at the moment, or do you go back to your allies?
The only thing that I would be looking to do, I've grown up with numerous nobles. I want to try and see whether or not the lady of the house, totally blanking on the name,
Lulia.
Yeah,
Lulia Suravasa.
To see whether or not, like, she has got that look in her eye that, like, the stumbling block has been removed, or whether it was just like, okay, the stumbling block has just been moved. Like,
well, there's a glimmer of hope in her expression.
Awesome.
So she thanks you very much. She bids you all the best, and may fate be with us.
You holding the writ. You will see me again, and if the Lord is willing, then we will hopefully be meeting a brighter day.
May the wings of the dragon shelter us all. So you look at the document. Varks gives it to you. Before you exit, it's one page. A formal declaration from House Suravasa that we are petitioning to relocate to New Starbreeze or other suitable neighborhood. There's some bits about either purchasing or constructing a home. We also seek to have honor, or at least clearness, brought back to their name. Again, Bazagon has a sort of caste, not sort of, but it has a caste system in place. So at the moment, they don't have any rights. Once they get out of kind of the wild west of this ruined neighborhood, people will just see them like, oh, you're the enemy. Like, we fought and our families and friends died trying to not be enslaved by devils and tieflings, and the dwarves were conspired with them as well. So they want like actual proper, I guess in modern lingo we'd say legal rights or civil rights, to be put like back on a caste, on a rung, at least some rung that gets them out of being seen as villains and monsters and enemies. And yeah, like it's put in there, like they will publicly renounce any affinity or loyalty to the Xanthos throne, and will declare fealty to the Dragon Emperor. It's all in there, so it looks proper to you.
Cool.
And there's even a place vouched by Veraxion of House Eraethian, to whose name no dishonor persists.
Awesome.
All right, so it sounds like you're rejoining with your allies.
I would like to seek them out. Yep.
And they may or may not be talking about you when you arrive. Apparently they were, because they suddenly ceased their conversation.
So, how long was he gone?
A good hour, maybe hour and a half. I don't know. I mean, there's not like watches, but the sun has lowered a bit and your stomach is starting to grumble.
So, as he left, I had brought up the idea, let's try and infiltrate through the sewers while he's gone and distracting them.
Uh-huh.
And I thought that sounded like an okay idea to Jovan at the time, thanks to that roll. And he's not very smart.
Rin's had enough berries, this sounds good.
So,
okay. So how serious are you about this sewer idea? Are you trying to find access right now, or do you want to wait, talk to Veer, feel it out?
So we are very serious, but I'm going to say we take some time to kind of like come up with a plan and discuss the outlying area. I'm going to roll a D6 to determine how many minutes that it took us to do such. How long we spent talking. So D6 times 10.
Okay.
It took us an hour. We've been talking for an hour.
Okay.
So we're getting ready to set out just as he's getting back. as long as the other players are okay with my method.
Yes.
I know that.
So yeah, as you walk up, we're like, it's probably pretty intricate after an hour. It's just like, well, then we'll make some kind of explosive device on the door. That's our.
I walk up to that line.
Yeah.
What? All of Bazagon, are you looking to blow up?
You're back already? You're supposed to distract them longer.
I was gone an hour, and what do you mean distract them?
Ren's gonna whisper in his ear, has he turned traitor yet?
He's one of them now.
Yeah, we were going to infiltrate through the sewer, find the stolen goods in the locked door, locked vault, while you distracted them. We thought you'd be there for hours. I mean, the intricacies of tiefling, formalities, we figured it would have taken a while. An hour just for the introduction.
Well, I mean, it took some time getting to speak with the lady of the house. But I was able to garner information and possibly work out a deal to find out exactly where those who are causing these problems are.
So you're working with them now, and I kind of give like a side glance to my companions.
He's my boss. Whoever he works for, I still work for him. Are we part of this? Are we part of their house now, boss?
We are not part of their house. And by all accounts, they're really not much more than what is House Eraethian.
Oh.
But they're looking to restore their honor and properly pledge allegiance to the Emperor. But they're looking to...
I kind of like nudge Gungle. Like, see? They're for Bazagon.
They're looking to move where their house is located and get back on the rung of politics.
Oh.
What about that room in the basement? Does she tell you what was going on with that? That we all thought was really suspicious and we should figure out before we make alliances?
Yeah, no sane person has that much toilet paper in their house.
These are tough times.
I did not go to the basement and to ask questions about a room that I did not see while being properly escorted through their house.
Well, I mean, you're really charming. You could have found a way to work it out. I mean,
okay, where's that guard and the two servants and the two other guys? Yeah. The 2 to 3 children. You can see them anyway.
Well, there would
absolutely
definitely
love to receive a grand tour of the entirety of this wonderful manse. Bless you. The dust of the decrepit streets is getting to Veer.
Ah, yes.
But in related, it did sound like they said they pointed us in yet another direction. Was there another?
Yes. The Traxi.
Yeah, that's it.
They believe and would actually be able to point us in the exact location of where those of surviving members of the Traxi are located. And not only would we be able to end the bandits, we would be able to collect the bounties on those shall we say devilish members of the fallen house. But we would be able to set things aright, make some coin, and restore a house to its maybe not former name, but set things aright for them at the same time.
You devil people are really quick to throw each other under the cart.
But you did your diligent work, like really kind of thought about if she was lying to you or not, all of that, right?
Absolutely.
But you totally feel like she was being truthful.
Indeed.
Okay.
No speaking with forked tongue? Unless, of course, she has a forked tongue.
The asp tongues do, but you didn't see any asp tongues there.
No, I believe that she was forthright and just with all of her words.
I have something that I would think should get just a little bit of attention.
Sure.
What about this House Detraxi? What does Veer think about House Detraxi?
What do I remember or know about the house?
They politically ruined you and then attacked you and murdered your family.
Oh.
So
They sound like an upright standing citizens to me.
so
when House Eraethian refused to support Xanthos in their claim for Bazagon, refused to support them in the war. Of course, you caught a great deal of ridicule and criticism for that. But Detraxi was the worst of it. And they politically, financially, and militarily assaulted and brought directly. They literally themselves are the ones that brought down your house. Like I'm sure you have memories of like Detraxi warriors hacking and cutting down your family members in front of your face.
Wow. So
shit just got real.
This is something you have a lot of lore, and I only have so much RAM.
Yeah,
to keep it all in.
That's why I figured it'd be good to give it a little attention. Here.
So apologies for missing this connection. So looking back on that, would I be able to make some kind of roll to see whether I think it's possible for what she is saying, or whether she knows that it was House Detraxi that ruined my house, and she was saying that just to get a rise or a convenient scapegoat.
Mm-hmm. Make an insight check. I think that seems to be the best one. Everyone agree on that?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. You're kind of like reading into what she said.
So I'm not the wisest. I'm agile on my feet and very charismatic. So this is just a die roll here.
Sure.
And that's an 8. So absolutely, I trust what she was saying. Like
she seemed to be speaking to you from the bottom of her heart.
So, I feel that, the bastards that destroyed my house, if those are still around and causing problems, we can make a new ally and get rid of those murdering monsters at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They all do have bounties on them, you said too, right?
Yes. One of you has an actual like bounty roster, which is it's just like a scroll sort of thing. I don't remember who actually has it.
It was Gungle or Jovan.
Yeah, I think it's one of you two. So if you unroll it and you like go through, lists, Like it's right on there. There's like a number of names of Detraxi house members that like their bodies were never found. So either they're like a corpse under a pile of rubble somewhere, or they're still alive. And if they are still alive, they've each got bounties of 200 gold pieces.
Right.
So living, live or dead. You bring their head, you bring the manacles.
So
we've got another
complete of many things with one blow.
So we would get an ally, we would get paid, we would rid this area of those committing crimes against the citizens of this fair nation.
Possibly ridding people that are doing crimes. It's still alleged. We have no actual evidence yet.
Well, no, those people are wanted criminals. I mean, so at the very least, even if
but we don't know that they're just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you're currently doing crimes.
Oh, I know, but I mean, they all have wanted bounties. So I'm saying, even if they weren't.
Yeah, but that wouldn't matter to Gungle. Gungle sees those bad guys. They're on the list.
Yeah,
they are on the list, but we're on a specific mission now. We will pull at this thread and see what unravels.
Mm-hmm.
So,
doesn't look like these devil people are going anywhere anytime soon, anyway.
So, I am willing to wager based on my, what I saw within the house. It is possible that Lulia is intelligent enough to hide what wealth they have behind the door that you saw. She did make mention that they were willing to buy the land and build the house themselves if need be. So while the house has seen better days, perhaps there is some fortune behind it that is hidden. But I trust that she is not the one behind doing such things, and I would certainly like to see those bastards that killed my family, and some of which in front of me, set ablaze or skewered upon their own blades if need be.
Just one. I know you trust her, and I'm going to go with you on this totally 100%. But, there is a chance that she's directing us there and she turns out not to be trustworthy. We are going straight into a full-on trap.
Well, there's those who say that I think everything's a trap. Well, that's certainly not me.
But alive.
If it is,
you knew where I was going. Excellent. One of my favorite movies. But
rightly so for a swashbuckler.
To Ren, it definitely feels like we're being herded in a direction.
Well, it is possible that she is playing at my heartstrings, but I am willing to see where these puzzle pieces fall, and I think it is for the betterment of all that we go down this road.
We can go down the road, and I have no opposition to that, but we should be cautious of how we go down the road.
So where are these traitors hiding?
We have to speak to someone in court and plead the case for House Slavasa and see if we can get them access to land in New Starbreeze or anywhere else but High Table.
Wait a minute. They don't deliver the goods first, and you negotiated that they're going to get the reward, the prize, if you would.
We have to make the attempt.
Yes, but we're going to. I'm an agent of the crown. We're going to operate in good faith. If they provide what they said they can provide, we will do as we were told or asked of.
Well, I had to operate within the confines of noble to noble relationships, and they're on the higher rung.
You could do this for them, and then they could just turn around and not give us the information.
And Ren whispers, "This is what you're talking about, right?"
And their name would be sullied in doing so.
Would they care if they're sullied if they cut the land?
You've got an agreement, right, with you?
I've got a writ. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to look that over. Did you tell us about the writ?
Yes.
May I peruse that?
By all means. I'm assuming it's written in Infernal.
In common.
Oh, it's written in common. Okay, there you go.
Yep. Yeah.
This is where you get background as a lawyer.
Common, or the common tongue, if you want to call it that. That's like the official de facto lingua, what we call lingua franca, of the Bazagonian Empire. So she certainly had the head servant draw it up in that tongue.
Okay.
The dragon emperor himself is an elf, some kind of elf. He's a silvery colored thing, and the dragon god Mitra Satsil is known as the mithril dragon. So he's came from a elvish background of some variety. Anyhow, the point is Gungle's looking at the letter. So Gungle, you look it over. It's worded well. Everything has official airs and weight to it. They want honor restored to their name. They are asking for at least, oh my god, I got to pull up a document here. It's, I think sixth pedestal is the like minimum caste that they want to be in, which that's pretty humble. That'd be just like a common laborer.
So looking it over,
but they would have rights. They want to be able to buy a home, or if need be, construct a home. They are willing to go with New Starbreeze, as that's sort of a under development refugee immigrant area. So maybe they fit in some fashion, but they are willing to take Corrado. They'll take Paropolis, the old city. They'll take Rampike. There's many other neighborhoods they would be willing to go to that are not
High Table.
Yeah,
so
that are not ruined. That are not.
That's what they
desperate.
want. But basically, is it just saying we're going to swear fealty? We're super loyal. Is there anything in there that's actually transactional towards what we're trying to do?
There's the part that's in agreement with this. They will provide information that is going to lead to the discovery and capture or vengeance against House Detraxi of the former Xanthos throne.
Perfect. They are true and tried snitches.
Yeah. Also, Gungle, just as you are a bit more involved in the runnings of Bazagon City, and your lower station, you're not a prelate or anything, but you have a bit of clout of your own. This is not something that's just going to happen in one day. This is going to be like, you got to go talk to Master Cicero, and he's going to have to make his call on it, and then he's going to have to talk to like the high prelate, and it's going to be a multi-stage thing, and then there's going to be like some back and forth documents. So there's if this goes by the book, there's going to have to be the transaction moment where essentially you'll get information, and they're going to get some kind of letter that says, okay, you now are approved to start negotiating for a home or a plot. This is not going to be, you go to Cicero, he signs it, they get a free house and say, aha, suckers.
I slam my fist on the wooden plank. Damn it. Do you know how many channels this is going to have to go through before we can even get the information? By the time they give us the information, it probably won't even be any good anymore.
You don't know where they are, but she said hideout. She said hideout, and she said lair. So maybe a good point there, Gungle. A hideout could be relocated.
She did say at one point in time, and you can correct me if I misheard, but she did say that they are hiding out in their old house.
Nope, she didn't say that.
She did not say that? Okay.
Nope. She actually didn't. She didn't say anything other than they operate and do their illicit deeds within the area and surrounding neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she said like High Table, Aruda, New Starbreeze, which those are all loosely, roughly connected to one another.
All right. I thought I heard something to that extent, but I guess I'm wrong.
Now, if if you thought it was painful for me to explain what it was going to take to open a business with the bureaucracy, that is nothing compared to when I explained the bureaucracy you have to go through to get to take this writ up through the proper channels to get it to where it needs to go, for us to then get the information, and how by that time it's a good possibility if these villains have any informants within the government themselves, they're going to know exactly what we're doing before we even know where to look.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue that Ren's having right now, not that she doubts Veraxion's belief, but that like what she saw, if I'm remembering it right, and correct me if I'm wrong, like they were welcoming like entertainers at the very end, and were like there was somebody like kind of fancy visitors and this room full of food that only like in this area seems like no one could hope for to have, like very well off in that regards. Like it seems to be like there's what they want you to see and then what she actually saw, and it may not be matching up 100% with her. So I'm not sure if I'm remembering that exactly right, but it felt like things that they certainly weren't as dire situations when you got below the surface of it.
So there are definitely some questions and some suspicions and different points of view, and I think we should kind of look at what are some of the main routes that are on the table at the moment. It looks like we've got Veer's route, which is go back to New Starbreeze, talk to Master Cicero, try to uphold your word of what you just told, what the word that you gave her, and try to get this in motion, and hopefully it's all going to work out. And Gungle's idea is we should probably just march back there right now, and I'm a representative of the Emperor in some lower degree, but still it's in the chain of command somewhere along the line, and explain to them we need to hit this now, strike this while the iron's hot. We don't have time to wait on all the bureaucracy of this. But I'm giving you my word, as an agent of the Empire, as a servant of the crown, that if your information does lead to this vengeance against Atraxi, we are going to get you your name cleared and your ability to purchase a home in New Starbreeze or elsewhere. And then Jovan seems like he's going to support Veer. Is that what I'm gathering from you? Yep. And Ren is kind of up for anything, like maybe tinkering and spying and breaking and entering a little bit more back at the manor.
She's just leaning probably more towards Grungle because, like I said, she saw some things and it doesn't quite add up. And I mean, she's not the biggest noble fan in the world, and she has suspicions that a noble could sweet talk another noble and they're basically doing anything.
Yeah, I would say in regards to this, yes, I'm going to support Veer, but I do like Gungle's idea of just presenting stuff like, look, Asian in the crown, like, not waiting for weeks to get the...
I find something like sturdy to lean against and kind of like stick my belly out and start patting. Well, I guess if we're going to do it your way, Veer, see in about 30 to 60 days if it moves rapidly.
So, would you rather we go back and have a second conversation with the lady and say that while this process will take time, upfront information will actually expedite her desire and make it that much more achievable?
What we can do is we can add a writ to her writ and submit it as we go off to investigate the information. So if we do perish, I will leave my mark on it and my intent, and I will swear upon my oath to the crown that we will honor this agreement if what she said is true.
I like and agree with this plan. Be great if we approach together so that one, she already sees and trusts me, and then you present the idea of authority, and then we have our other companions to help accentuate our strengths in the completion of this mission on both authority and the destruction of our common rivals.
We could definitely do that. And I don't know, Rin, do you want to do your spider trick just in case?
I mean, I could definitely do a spider trick. That would be cool. I like being spider. It's fun. Except for when I step on you. Really bad boots.
And I think
I'm just imagining like scrunch, but then there's like a person growing underneath your foot at the same time.
So I imagine the time while I was inside, having the conversation would have counted as a short rest for Rin, so she would have both.
Yes. I did want to check on one thing that I can do real quick. I'm just checking my character sheet real quick because I believe I have a spell that we may want to use. I'm just double checking, having some trouble pulling something up here. I apologize. Nope. I thought I might have Zone of Truth, but that is not a druid spell, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, okay. But yeah, I will go spider.
All right.
So the La'ayi returned back to House Sravasa's manor. And there are the three of you as you are. Rin as a spider on the ground. Just nearby.
She could probably just ride in on one of us and then...
Yeah, I would probably go up this, honestly, like just be on the shoulder, try to get out of sight.
Hiding in the dwarf's beard.
Yeah, I was going to say under Gungle's beard.
Gungle has like a big red beard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm totally going to like a red small spider.
All right. Rin is camouflaged amidst the woolly shrubbery that is Gungle's beard. You all return back to the manor. You call at the door again, Veer, yes?
Indeed.
Mm-hmm. Major Domo Varks comes back. A 50, 60-something-year-old tiefling with grayed out parts of his skin and a grayed out cataract eye. You have returned so soon.
Indeed. I would actually like to continue the conversation with the Lady Lulia and possibly get an addendum to the situation. I come with an actual agent of the crown that might be able to help things become faster for all involved.
Faster might be most beneficial. He unlatches the gate, swings it open. I am head servant Varks. It's a pleasure to meet you.
So I would actually introduce...
He's speaking in common now, and he's quite fluent with it.
I would actually introduce Varks to them before he would even get to that point, and give him their names in return.
Gungle, Jovan, I am enchanted to make your acquaintance. If you would, you may wait here at the portico. I will be back in just some minutes. This is okay for you all?
But of course.
Thank you. The front door is actually shut now, though night is soon coming. Like the sun is getting low, shadows are growing long. So everyone shuts their door at nighttime, right? So he goes inside. It's much like before. It's taken a good few minutes. He pops back out and checks on you all. Do you need any wine whilst you're waiting?
No, I'm good.
I look a little longingly for a moment.
Double checks with the dwarf.
No, we were on official business, so I will abstain.
I see. Good masters, if you will just spare a bit more of your patience. Thank you.
But of course.
And goes back inside, returns some long moments later, opening the door and gesturing for you all to come inside. It looks as though they're preparing for dinner and they're lighting candles and setting the table. The 4 guardsmen are back out in their light chain and their helms and their spears, and they just stand in respect of the guests coming into the home.
I give a greeting to each, just a friendly nod, acknowledging that I am in their home, and that I'm respecting their service.
Follow me. It will be just this way. He leads you all up the stairs. He leads you once again into the personal chambers of Lulia, the aforementioned and described tiefling noblewoman, who she has put her harp back into the reclining passive position. She's like getting her her lyric papers all sorted out, and Varks esters you all in. Again, calling upon you, my lady, is Veraxion of House Eraethian, Jovan the Musky, his man-at-arms, and Gungle Firebeard, paladin of the crown.
So my sincere apologies for disturbing you twice within a single afternoon.
It is no disturbance. Varks told me that you, if you wish, I may speak in the common tongue, though I might need your assistance at times.
By all means, and I will switch over to common.
It is good for if there is possibility of make faster this. I am enchanted for meet you, Jovan and Gungle Firebeard. She badly mispronounces your names, but does her best.
Does Vark stay in the room, or does he leave?
He just waits out in the corridor, like by the door, so that they can call him in anytime.
So I would really do my best to recall like whatever niceties that I might have picked up from when House Eraethian was still around, and gesture and respectfully. But
Sure.
I'd like
and those 2 associates that I described, the one with the staff, and the one with like the black leathers, and he was like fire eating and juggling and stuff. They're also still in the room, or at least they're again in the room as they were previously.
But after that, I would excuse myself and wait with Varks in the hallway and just sort of like pick his brain, because I figured like, well, maybe if Veer is able to restore his house, I might be in a similar position as him. I don't know anything about running a household or anything, so I'm just like hanging out with him and asking him. Like,
so you asked him some questions, and he seems fairly knowledgeable. I mean, he's an experienced major domo, so he has a wealth of knowledge and can talk at length about a number of different subjects.
I'm just gonna talk his ear off about that. Like, how long?
Okay, you talk his ear off, and you pick his brain and such. Let's see what you have to say to Lulia.
Yeah.
My lady, Gungle here is a direct agent of the crown, and he tells me that while passing along the writ and speaking on your behalf, it is a time. What's the word I'm looking for? It will take.
Hello, Veer. First of all, thank you, lady, for giving me the chance to meet with you and seeing us again. I am enchanted likewise. But what Veer is trying to tell you is he lacks some of the intricacies of the bureaucracy of the empire. This process would take a long time, at which point the enemies who've perpetrated these crimes may get wind of what's going on and be able to escape justice, and then we would not be able to deliver on our part. But if we are able to act swiftly, then we will have more evidence and more proof in your favor that will allow us to expedite your matter. And in case things go terribly wrong, I will add an addendum to the writ where I will put my personal seal upon it of everything you've told us, as well as our intent to aid you.
I am wanting make certain I am understanding. Might I speak a dwarfish? My dwarfish actually is better than my common. This is good for you.
Excellent, I say in dwarfish.
You are saying that you are a concern of much time, over much time to go, and it's not possible any longer to apprehend the Draxi.
Yes, the time that it will take for your writ to go through the bureaucracy could take 30, 60 days, even more, which time the information you have could be leaked out. They could discover our plan to uncover them, or they might just move on their own. Who knows what will happen? But we will.
You're saying that is likelihood of my house indeed come to good status again and move to the home in New Starbreeze or elsewhere. You think this is likelihood?
It'll be far more likely if we actually are able to present this falling house and their criminals to the justice system in the Empire, while your writ is being processed.
I would like Gungle to make a persuasion check.
Okay, that is a thing Gungle can do.
I would help, but I don't actually speak Dwarven, so I don't know what's being said here.
Yeah, you hear her talking, and she's actually not bad at Dwarvish at all, which kind of makes sense. Xanthos was like dwarves and tieflings.
So that's a 13 on the die, giving me a total of 18.
18? Okay. Well, that's a moderately good check there. She's really considering what you're saying. This information is a very valuable information and is a dangerous information. Is there a way that we can, after you apprehend, you make attack, your mounted attack against the Traxi and having a victory, but immediately me, my children, my house come with you without a wait, because in this wait time, after you have victory and we are wait for process, is so dangerous now for us. And there's many people who will come to revenge. Is very, very, very bad. Can you escort us and do something so we can be free of the menace upon us here?
Does Gungle know if you have any ability to do any of that?
Well, you think of the idea, okay, so what if we just waltz up into New Starbreeze with this tiefling household in a parade behind us? It might work, it might not. You might just get chewed out and told them to get these unknown, I don't want to say undocumented, they would be considered suspects of enemy suspects, really. So they might just get put into a dungeon and they'll just have to wait out their processing in a prison. It might depend on how well you can convince. A lot also might hinge on how good her information is. If you come back and we freaking wiped out the last of the scurrying cockroaches of Detraxi because of her, that would help a lot. But if you're just going to come back and we went to a gang hideout and we arrested some bandits, but we can't really provide you proof of anything, they might just send them back to High Table. They might okay, well, we don't know who these people are exactly. We're going to put them in a dungeon while it's processing. There's a lot of unknowns.
Check on her right now.
Yeah.
Just to get a vibe. Best I can do is pull on some beard hair if it comes out bad.
Okay.
But it's something.
If it's abort mission, you start 17. Tugging on his beard hairs like this. Okay, what do you got?
17.
17. Okay. 17 is decently good. Nothing in your gut instinct, your little spider guts, tingle and give you that red flag sense, something's amiss. She's got a hidden agenda. You don't think actually she's trying to pull a fast one over on you.
See what I told you?
Maybe she is though. She's a totally slick deceiver. Yeah. What you sense from her is that she is very, very interested in helping her own family. That's what she wants. She wants her into this deal to be really good, and it could possibly be really good for you too. But
Take a
she's got
sigh
all
of relief and accidentally inhale some beard hair. But yeah, she's will relax in the beard and just observe from this point on.
Okay.
My lady, if this information you have is good and we were able to deal a crushing blow to House Nerdarchy, or what's left of this Scourge house, then I am sure my superiors will look very favorably upon your house. But I have to be completely honest with you. If the information is not so good, or this mission of ours does not go as well or as planned, it might be harder, and you could even end up in the dungeon. But I will do my utmost, and I will personally lead you.
What dungeon are we talking about?
So whatever the seat is of the throne is where I would probably be taking them.
You mean thrown into the mazes, or you mean prison of the Melisses?
The prison of the Melisses, where they sort it out. I will vouch for you and do everything I can, but if we come back and we do not have good results, then my superiors are not going to look favorably upon me. Matter of fact, I may end up in that dungeon with you.
Would you give me some minute, and I'm speaking with my my advisors?
Yes. So I just want to make clear to her that I'm actually going to put myself forth at personal risk to my own reputation and maybe freedom in order to facilitate this.
So,
and that's exactly what you're doing. So she asked for just like a private moment to talk this out with her advisors, because there's obviously some big risks at play no matter which way this gets handled.
Okay, perfect.
All right, so you go back into the corridor with Jovan and Varsk, who are talking about the history of like the age of conquests and like the waves of different races that came to Bazagon and like conquested against the factions that were here before them. And this whole metropolis island city has like this incredibly detailed history. So you're getting like this mini history lesson. Some time goes by. A servant comes up with like a tray of food. You're probably all pretty hungry, and like they give you bread and cheese and wine and some dried fruits. So without any further ado, you're ushered back into the room, and she agrees. I think this is a unique opportunity in front of me at this moment. Is not perhaps happening once again after this day. I am not wanting lose of this, but with this in mind, we are of one idea that you, Sir Firebeard, is putting your addition in the letter, and name is your word to go in tandem with our word.
Yes, and then I'll request fresh ink and parchment and begin drafting that part up.
Yep. They accommodate you with that. Varsk is there to help you if there's any need in formal languaging, translation, or anything else that he can assist with. You add in your essentially your vouching on it. And is this getting sent? Are you trying to like send a page to actually send this onto Cicero or onto the Palace of Mitra, like ahead of your activities?
Yes, it's exactly what we would want to do.
Okay. So you have the contacts. I'm trying to think if I can think who would actually do this. What you would do is, I'll pull up the map because we're probably going to be using it in just a second here anyways. what I imagine that you would have a mind to do is actually send a page from this gate here. You would go from High Table past the fountain and go to the gate, which that gate is manned. And you could entrust the letter, entrust the documents there, and it's going to get delivered, I don't know, probably on the morrow. And it's going to go through a proper channel. Otherwise, you're going to be like paying a runner to like send it to like go through the maze.
Yeah, as long as we can go through the proper channel, that's what I would want to attempt to do.
Okay. All right. So it's all been signed, and like they're sending probably going to send Varsk, right? Like they're going to send the head servant of their house to the gate. They'll ask you to go with him. And she says, Dithraxi is holed up in the maze of fire and rust. You are to go out to the fountain, go to Kyrios fountain. Hold on just 1 second here. Okay, there we go. I just put it in a different order than what I'm saying. When coming to Fountain of Kyrios, your hideout will be far through the maze. Go through the corridors to your right-hand direction. Follow the sound of water. Follow the water sound until you can see a moat. On the far side of the moat is a wall of stone blocks. You will come to a point where there is a break in this stony wall. This is entrance to the hideout of the Traxi. You should know that they have a guardian at their door. Monstrous vermin, bred and trained by a fallen Argus legion. Of the leaders of the Traxi living, there are 3. Anxa, a fiend caller, and who knows what dark powers she has turned to since Xanthos and Geryon fell. Jake, a sorcerer who wields the fires of hell. And the Boregrix. He is spy and fond of poisons. And indeed, these names are on the outlaw roster, or the wanted rogues gallery, if you want to call it that. Anxa Detraxi, Jake Detraxi, also known as Hellfire, and Boregrix Detraxi. They are siblings. You have basic descriptions of them. So she has told you who, she has told you where, how to get there, that they have some kind of monstrous vermin thing that was bred by the Argus Legion. That was the faction that was allied with Xanthos Throne. They're in a different district. They did many functions. One, they were like the main military force and surveillance of the city. They also bred and raised all kinds of beasts and monsters. Some of them were used in defense of the city, but lots of them were used at the Grand Colosseum in the blood sport, in the fighting pits. So apparently they have some kind of monstrous vermin thing that was bred, and they have that as a door guardian. There is one other thing I have learned of recently. In the vault of House Detraxi, they are possessing of a relic which may be of particular interest to you and your comrades. A idol of a snake, a figurine. Its power is wondrous.
That sounds like the thing that our Grung friend was looking for, correct?
Indeed. It can be brought to life in this statuette of a great python will animate and serve, even unto battle.
Leap on in. Could live on with us if we find that. Jump on in.
Yes. Japanin, yes. Japanin's long-lost relic, Fable, the giant constrictor snake, who was a beloved family pet and whose spirit lives on in the figurine of wondrous power. Apparently, Detraxi has robbed this amongst other things. You're muted, Doug.
Hee hee. I was just saying, so that's where it is. We can accomplish many goals at this place.
All right, what do you all think?
Yeah, I think we want to set out. I mean, open to the consensus. We'll leave this place so we can get Rin in on the discussion.
So their hideout is in the maze of fire and ruin and
Fire and rust.
Yes, fire and rust.
Yep.
I'm going to write that in my adventure journal.
Yep.
Quite
she said-
ironic, since that's where Jovan wanted to go.
Yeah. I told you just might be going there at some point. So yeah, she said go straight forward from the Fountain of Kyrios into the dungeon entrance, which that's like the newer entrance that was kind of like tunneled through in these last couple of years. Take the right handmost corridors, following the sound of water. Eventually the water is going to come visible as like a sort of moat or a stream. On the far side, you'll see a very crude but sturdy wall of like stacked stone blocks. You'll eventually come to a break in the blocks, and that little gap that leads to the entrance into the hideout of House Detraxi.
Do I have a good spot to change out of spider form in any of this?
Inside of the household?
Well, just once we as soon as we get out, like, is there a good? Because it seems like we're going straight there. Do I have any, or are we traveling with people, or this isn't going to be a good idea?
Well, you tell me. Varks will be with you. He's bearing the letter, and Gungle is the important one to go with him. But you all could go. You don't have to. And they're going to take that to the gate.
Okay, got
That's like, a jaunt away. So it's going to be. If you're doing this now, it's going to be nightfall when you're going there. I don't know if that matters to anyone.
I part of me wants to take it and head straight through, but part of me says it's better to start in the morning. I'm willing to secede to what the party wants to do.
Stay at the house overnight?
Well, no, I wouldn't think they would offer us rooms.
Well, I'll clap you on the back and say, whether it's day or night, we're delving into a dungeon. Doesn't matter where the sun is in the sky at that point.
So I think what Veer is suggesting, long rest first.
Oh, I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't think we really need anything.
I have 0 spells.
Okay, well then, absolutely, we should do that.
I mean, other than that, I'm fine.
I mean, a short rest would be good for me to get wild shapes back, but other than that, I'm good.
So I think the plan is to sit out in the morning.
Varks is waiting with the letter in hand, and he
Well,
wants
I figured-
he wants to go to that gate.
Yeah, I
And
figured
hand it off.
Oh yeah, we'll do the letter thing. It's got to be late in the day at this point because we've done. It seems like we've done a lot.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. As you exit the manor, the sun is setting, and so the sky just has like those deep dark hues to it.
Yeah, so we'll find a place to hole up, whether there's a tavern, an inn.
There's like burnt out buildings and stuff too, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, if you're fine just roughing it, you can go into
I got
a ruined building.
camp and Tinderback.
I mean, we could even just head over to the maze and camp out just outside.
Ooh, camp out in the dungeon. I like the way you think.
No, not in the dungeon. What are you even saying?
I mean, the entrance,
Just outside the dungeon, I think, is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
dungeon and Zagats.
Or if there happens to be an inn or a tavern over there by the outside of the dungeon, even better.
So you escort Varks to the gate, escort him back to House Sravasa. It's certainly night by that point. You then find a place that you want to essentially camp out close to the entrance of the maze of rust and fire.
Yes,
Have I understood that all correctly?
I believe so.
Yes.
Most excellent. Let me think if there should be any milestone awardings yet, or is it just been like the setup for the milestone to be achieved? I'm going to say we're in the setup, and then next comes the payoff. So nighttime in the ruins of High Table. Very well. Do you all do anything in particular, or is it just general camp, like eat, drink, pee, pray, drink?
I mean,
sleep.
I'm going with
sleep
general,
sleep in rotations. Okay. The night passes. It gets a little bit chilly, but you wake in the next morning, no worse for the wear. In the night, you heard nothing but maybe some dogs howling, some people fighting. Like, by fighting, I mean like arguing with each other, or maybe like slugging it out like drunkenly in the street, or like a couple bickering with each other, a baby crying. Nothing that alerts you to grave danger, and no grave danger rears its ugly head. You awaken refreshed the next morning.
Nice.
Heading out? Is that what I'm? You all seem eager to get going. Let's get going. You are just arrows flight away from the fountain of Kyrios. You head into this recently tunneled out entrance into the maze of rust and fire. I guess fire and rust. As you are going, it is certainly a maze. There are corridors of every shape and size, from long, straight passages to curving, winding bits, to dead ends. Some are in good repair. Others are broken and decrepit and with rubble. Some you have open, like open air overhead, like, these walls go up pretty high, maybe like 20 feet high, and you can just see the air. Other parts, there are ceilings, and you pass through tunnels and such. You even pass by a door, like this old busted down door, but that's not the way you're wanting to go. That's off the other direction. You stick to the right-hand side.
Right turns.
And indeed, there is a sound of water. There's just like that water sound, like a sound of a stream or a rivulet. You don't see any water, so maybe it's like on the other side of the wall that's next to you. And you follow that right-hand path, always keeping to that same direction. You don't get turned around much at all. Her guidance essentially leads you through this part of the maze without having to really roll any particular navigation skill. And lo and behold, you turn, like the passage you're in hooks to the left, and like part of a wall opens up, and there's this big stream. The water doesn't look great. You don't know if you would trust it enough to drink it or not. It doesn't smell terrible. Just, it looks a little dirty. Maybe has a bit of sewage mixed in with it. It may be connected with the sewer channel somehow.
Hey, you got your sewer adventure after all, Gungle.
Yes. And of course, on the other side is the wall that she described. Like someone has literally just taken stone blocks, some of them even pretty big, and just stacked them into about a 10-foot high wall. Some parts will crenellate up higher, but it doesn't ever really get much more than 15 feet high. You trace along this this stream, or this moat. It's going to serve as a moat. There are broken chunks of structures within the maze, and then there's this gap in the block wall, the stony wall arranged on the far side of the stream. And this stream is sort of wide. It's not extremely wide. It's about 30, 40 feet across. Something about like that.
So we are nearby to the hideout, is that correct?
This was described as the entrance to the hideout. There is this gap in the stone.
Is immediately just drop down to the ground and look around for any signs of a guardian vermin. Is there droppings? Is there scrabble marks on the ground, or a usual sense of...
Not on the side you're on.
Oh, okay.
Now there is this whole stream. It's about 30, maybe 40 feet across. Then there's this blocked up stone wall that you can't see over. It's 10, maybe 15 feet high. And there's this one gap. So that's really the only thing you can see through. And then beyond this gap, you eventually see there's another wall, whether it's just strictly a wall as such, or if it's like the wall of a building, like a face of a building or structure. Just the angle doesn't really give view of that.
Christian, sorry.
Yeah,
Spider
go ahead.
Does Spider Rin go through the gap and see what there is?
The gap is certainly big enough for anyone to go through. It's
Okay,
like,
so it's not like a small gap.
yeah, like it's like a 10-foot maybe. Yeah, it's like a 10-foot wide gap in this block wall.
I think we have to traverse a.
Yeah, so actually something is going to appear and interact with you real quick, or I mean, just immediately. But before we do that, did anyone do anything? But like before you came here, like, oh, there's the gap. I want to cast Shield of Faith, or
I have no preparatory resources.
no. Okay, so you're just standing there on this side that you're on of the water, and the water has, like a drop down before it gets into the actual liquid. And in this opening in the wall comes a statue, very slow moving animated statue of a cloaked and hooded person, stony thing. It speaks in Infernal. Ho there! What is the passphrase?
We don't know a passphrase, do we?
You were not told one.
I don't even know what's asking for a passphrase.
No, I said that to you. Do we know a passphrase?
So this thing is on the other side of a 40-foot river?
Yep.
Hey, Ren. Oh, that's still pretty far. I don't know. How hard would it be to throw like a ball python at the statue?
What do you have in mind, Gungle?
Well, that's what I know. How is that feasible? I have a 16 strength. Do I think I could throw a ball python?
Could you throw a ball python across the river?
Yeah, if it was like wrapped up like a ball.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm understanding right. Are you wanting to?
Could you be like an armadillo, maybe?
Across the river in animal form?
Yes. Fastball special.
Well, while you're discussing this idea amongst each other, and no one has said any passphrase, there's another sound from this statue. Trespassers will be shot. And then it retreats back behind the wall.
I hate constructs.
Well, okay, that ship is south. Hey, do you have a way to get us across? Like turning into a 40-foot constrictor?
Well, I mean, it's like a sewer, it's not like a deep river, right? I mean, you could walk in it.
I mean, I could also turn into like a large.
You look down the drop off into the water. It's murky, brownish, slightly greenish, slightly bluish. You can't see the depth. Maybe there's a way you could test for the depth.
Yes,
I mean, you could just jump in there and.
I've got a pole, and I'm going to use it. It is a 5-foot pole.
It'll take at least 5 foot just to get to the surface of the water down the drop off.
So I'll get that. I'll like lay down on my stomach on the edge.
And you reach in as far as you can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's definitely deeper than 5 feet.
Oh, boy, this is okay.
The current of it is not strong. It's just a lazy current. It's enough to where it makes a little gurgle sound.
I'll volunteer to test it and try to swim across just to see. And I mean, I do have like rope and stuff. I can, at least if nothing else, hold it and like people.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and you're like, I could just swim it and just climb up the other side. Nothing. It doesn't look daunting by any means. All right, so you plunge in there. Do you jump in like with a dive or just like a feet first?
Oh yeah, he is an athlete, so I'm going to do like a very technical executed move.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, I quite enjoy that. Okay, so you dive in there, and you're going to see maybe how deep it is, and maybe just swim across the other side.
I used this technique in the hidden shrine of Timoa-chan.
Very nice. Well, I hope you learned a lot from that technique, and
I hope so too.
you... I'm trying to think, because you can't really see. The water's murky. What happens if there's a monster in there with him? I guess it just automatically sneaks up on him, right?
Sure.
Hey, before we get any deeper, can we take a quick break?
Yeah. So what do you guys want to do? Do you want to take a break and then keep going, or do you want to pause here and continue next week or in 2 weeks? We could do a cliffhanger as Jovan's in this like murky water and like there's something in there.
I think that's a good cliffhanger.
I'm good for either.
Yeah, you see like a little ripple in the water. Like, what was that?
You're gonna love what's in there.
Sure.
Okay, well, let me do that then. Let's shoot on playing again, same time here in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I guess it's just going to be like it's on dungeon time next session.
Sure.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank you all for playing. This was a lot of role playing and decision making, and it was all immersive for me.
That's a lot of role playing.
It's great. A lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks everybody who followed along and watched, and we'll be seeing you all in 2 weeks, and there's going to be danger, and we'll see if another one of Doug's characters
Yes.
That's
You bastards! You killed another one of Doug's characters.
Hey, that's a cool. Like, it's memorable, man. Right?
you make it like through 3 sessions. That's like a
Yeah.
All right. Thanks everyone, and we will catch you in the next session.
Stay dirty.